Hello, veterinary friends. Welcome to the Veterinary Life Coach Podcast. Today, I have a very interesting and wonderful guest for you. Her name is Nicole Bright, and I love that name. And she's a dedicated mother of two, author, motivational speaker, and a certified life coach that specializes in helping her clients heal from divorce. She's always harbored a passion for personal growth and began a life coaching practice to encourage and uplift women of all ages. Nicole helps clients flourish by guiding them towards productive, goal-oriented lives. And through her coaching and speaking, Nicole helps individuals put their lives back together. And I love all that. Welcome to the podcast, Nicole.
Thank you, Julie. I'm
I'm
happy to
so
be
happy
here.
to have you.
Thanks.
So I always start with all my guests to ask them to tell me their story, because that's where we all want to hear how you got to where you are today.
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to say to anyone listening to my story, when I begin my story, it's normal, then it gets bad, and it gets good and bad and good. And I want you all to know that your story is there for a reason, and that it's all in how you train yourself to react to things and to respond to things in your life. And it can create something beautiful. It's just all in your perception of your story. And so this story is what propelled me to where I'm at today, of course, where, they say take lemonade, you make lemonade through sour, sour
Yeah,
things.
take lemons and make lemonade, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Add the sugar. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of like what my story is. So I began where I was about 22 when I got married. I got married really, really young. I met my then husband in high school. We didn't necessarily date in high school, but we reconnected after we both graduated. So we dated for about, a year and a half, maybe a year and a half. And then we were engaged for 6 months. So that was a 2-year courtship. So I got married at 22. I felt like I was really old getting married, which is very funny
Really?
because I was deep into the church and all my friends were getting married at 18,
Oh,
19,
wow.
20. So
Okay.
they're getting married right out of high school, and I'm like, I'm an old maid
At 22.
at 22.
That's hilarious.
So little did I know, but Nicole has some self-esteem problems. I knew it, but I didn't know it. What kind of self-discovery have I really done at 22? Sorry,
Right.
2-year-olds, but it's just true for me.
Yes. Yeah, you're still a baby at 22, right?
You're still a baby. You really are. And so I was decided to go to school for elementary education, right? This was not my number one choice. My number one choice, you all, I wanted to be a therapist. I wanted to be a psychiatrist. Yeah, I knew
That's
that.
interesting.
I knew that, right?
Yeah.
So I knew
Yes.
myself somewhat. So I knew I wanted to help people with their mental health and move forward in life and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, my self-esteem would not allow it, right? I felt like,
You
oh,
didn't you didn't
you're
think you
not
were
smart
smart
enough.
enough or what? Okay. All right.
Exactly. You're not smart enough. Oh, you can't do that. You
Aw.
don't have the money to all these things.
Right. All those
Um,
negative thoughts.
exactly. And so I guess I just thought elementary education was the thing. So I was going to school for that, got engaged, and then I thought I got my dream job, right? I was a teacher assistant for kindergartners. hmm I found out I didn't like kids,
You
Julie.
didn't like it. Yeah. And then you're on the wrong path if you don't like kids, right?
I'm really, really on the wrong path. So
Right.
I'm on the cusp of getting married, right? And I'm like, okay, I don't like this job. And so I got married, went on my not interview, but went on my honeymoon and never went back to the job. Okay.
Really?
So I decided to be a housewife as he worked, and he decided to start his own business. So I was helping him in his business, started having children, was very, very heavy in the church. So I was teaching and mentoring young women, right? So this is where it came about. I was
Okay.
mentoring young women. And one of these young women, now this is back in 2015, she says to me, you should be a life coach. And this is in 2015, right?
Interesting.
And I looked at her, I'm like, what is that? I don't know if
Right.
I don't even know if I asked her, what is that? It maybe came in my head. What is that? And so I went back and researched, and I'm like, that sounds just like me.
Yeah, because it's very similar to therapy and all of that, right? Yeah, I love that.
There you go, Julie. Exactly. So I found me within the mentoree. and
Sure.
that was lovely. And so I was like, okay. So my then husband, he was supportive of it. And he was like, he's a back end person, and I'm always the front end person. Like of his business, I was always like, helping him, with, like the admin things and talking to people and all that. I'm very
Sure.
social, never met a stranger. And so then I was that for my business, and he was helping me set it up. Very intelligent person. So he was setting it all up for me. And I decided to coach women just like me. Okay. So that meant either whether they were stay at home or working or not, but they were women that need to balance their life and figure it all out with the husband and the kids, and, getting
Right.
all like stressed out and feeling like, oh, I'm at my last wit. So I was helping
Right.
those kind of women, right? So that's what I was structuring my business for. And so this had to be in 20, if I could guess, 2016, 2017, would be my start of my coaching. But in 2018, March the 20th, my marriage blew up, my life blew up, found out things.
One of those kind of blow ups.
One of those kind of blow ups.
Mm.
Yes. So that was March the 20th. By April, I want to say 18th, I was out of the marital home
Wow. That's
with
quick.
within a month. Like I look back at that, Julie, like, wow, how is that even possible?
Like you had no idea there were problems. And then
Well,
in March you found out, and then in April you were gone.
well, you always know, kind of.
Right, right. But you didn't
I didn't know.
acknowledge it. You didn't
Yeah, I
acknowledge
didn't know I didn't know the
the
what's the word?
extent of it, maybe.
Exactly. I lose my words. I'm getting older. But
That's
yeah,
okay. I do too. I have a tendency to butt in too, so.
you're fine. Yeah. So I didn't know the extent, the magnitude. That's the word. I did not know the magnitude of my issues. And
Okay.
so I did draw some lines. When I think of most women, when they get married, they do draw these lines like, okay, I can't put up with this and this. So I just had a couple of lines, like, but when I was drawing these lines, it was kind of like in the sand. So the wind would come, blow it away. I was like, okay, I'll just deal with it. Okay, I'll just deal with it. Because
Right.
listen, Julie, I truly did not believe in divorce. I truly did not believe in it. Wasn't even part of my verbs, my
Right.
vocabulary, my adjectives. It wasn't a part of
Right. You
anything I
never thought it would happen with you, right?
ever. Because I know some people getting married thinking, well, I can if I need, whatever. Not me. I was heavy in church, did not believe in it, and
Right.
just I could work through most things. I was a ride or die chick. That's what I call myself. Which I do think when you get married, though, you do have to have some form of that. You know what I mean? The
Well,
commitment.
yeah. I mean, you
The
have to
commitment.
compromise somewhat,
Of
right? But you
course.
also still have to advocate for yourself.
Exactly.
Separate
Exactly.
but together, kind of. That's how I always think of my marriage is like we very much have separate lives, but we do them together, kind of thing.
Exactly. That I think that is like one of the most perfect mindsets. It always depends on the person though, to have
Sure.
some level of that,
Right.
depending on what
Yeah, you have
level
to have
you
the
are.
right, you have to have the right matchup to make that work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so like I said, I was in my own apartment. And so I truly had a beautiful support system around me, a sister circle. It's just beautiful the way they came out for me.
Right.
Just beautiful. And so in my own place, on my own, never wanted to have a broken home, of course.
And
But
how old were your kids at the time? Because you have two kids, right?
yes. So Stephen, my son, my youngest was 5. Sarah, my daughter, was 12. They're
Wow.
7 years apart. The stupidest thing I've ever done, but
But they're quite young, so you had that on your plate too, right?
Exactly. They're quite young. So they both had really different experiences with the situation because of the age.
Sure.
But I did a post recently on my Facebook. Because Stephen just turned 13 and Sarah's 20 now. And so it's a picture of them walking. I didn't even do this on purpose. It's just like a organic thing. They're walking away. We were about to go to dinner for Stephen's birthday that day. They're walking away. I took a picture of them, right? And on my caption on my Facebook, it says Stephen was 5, Sarah was 12 when their parents got divorced. I was so worried about them at the time, but here they are, happy, beautiful, and healthy. I decided not to worry about a broken home, but to just give them one strong parent. And we succeeded.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
And just to encourage, because when there's kids, it does take it to another level.
Sure.
You're just thinking for everybody, and it's not just you, or us. It's them, all of us. It's a big
Right.
picture thinking. So I couldn't see that then, but what I needed to know is that they were going to be okay. But I don't really think I knew then. But it's all about how you. I'm going to other stuff in my story. I'm sorry. It's about
No,
how
go
you
wherever you want
navigate.
to go. I'll follow.
Oh, thanks. But it's about how do you navigate the divorce, how you deal with your children. You have to be open, honest, and loving with them at their age range. And that's how you do that. So
Yeah.
anyway, we're on our own, not on our own, of course. They still have a father, of course. I'm not gonna say
Sure.
they don't.
Right. Just
And
not in the home with you.
exactly. So the thing is, now this is the funny thing, and this is always having my God moments, my God moments. So I knew this was God because I, throughout our marriage, off and on, I worked and helping him with the business. But 8 months before all this happened, I got a job.
Uh-huh.
What's a that? But yeah,
Interesting. Yeah.
I got a job, and so I have been waitressing off and on forever. And so what happened was I found this fine dining restaurant in Michigan where I used to stay. Oh, I love this place. It's called Lely's. And I found peace there. I found like a job where I could make good money and I could support myself. And I didn't have that before. And so that
Right.
had to be God. That was God. It was a
Sure.
God moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, you better earn some money, lady, because something's about
Right.
to happen.
What's
Right.
about to happen? Right.
Oh, I
And
love it.
I didn't know, but he knew.
Sure. Yep. That's how it works. I love that.
So I left everything. Now I would never tell any of my clients to do this. Never ever never leave everything. Okay. I just took clothes on my back and some essentials and things like that. But
Sure.
I didn't. I had to start all over. I didn't have a vehicle,
Yeah.
Julie.
You should have stayed and fought and taken all that stuff away. Right.
But it wasn't worth it to me at the time. It's not like we
Right.
had like lots and lots of things either. It was just
Sure.
whatever. But I was just ready to go. I was ready for that life to cease and something else to start. And I didn't
Nice.
even know it then, but I know it now because there was other things in the relationship that was going on. Let's not act like it was sun, and then the
Sure.
storm came. No,
Right.
no, there was a lot of things going on. So anyway, so I ended up just working the weekends, renting a car on the weekends just to go to work. And my
Go to
kids'
work. Wow.
schools were right there for us. Beautiful neighborhoods. We're in the nice suburbs of Michigan. We're in a nice neighborhood, a little apartment though. I was on the futon. I had 2 bedroom. Both the kids are in their rooms, but there was peace there. But how many people know I didn't have any more of those clients? They were married and trying to balance all their life, right?
Right.
Of course
Right.
not. Who's
Yeah.
gonna follow me?
While you're going through a divorce.
Exactly. And I really couldn't help anybody anyways. I remember a person I knew back then, we don't really talk anymore, but she looked at me, she says, life coach, you're getting divorced? was, that did offend me at the time, but it's like, yeah, I am, because everybody thought I had it all together.
Well, and I think that's something that we need to say before we continue with your story is just because someone's a therapist or a life coach or boss at a business or something doesn't mean that they have it all together or know everything.
Come on.
Like as a life coach, we are taught the skills to help other
Yes.
people get their
Yes.
stuff together. We
Yes.
also have to work on keeping our stuff together.
That's right.
And when clients come to me and say, "Oh, you have it all figured out," I'm like, "Oh no, I still have to work at it. I still have to get coached. I still have to go to therapy. I still have to, it." I think it's such a it just discredits the whole human condition to think that certain people can have it all together and certain people can't. Like, can we do better? Can we change our mindset? Can we learn how to manage ourselves better? Yes. But life is always going to throw that, like our
Curveball.
life coach says 50-50 life at us. Like, there's always going to be challenges. So I'm glad that you said that.
I like that, Julie. I
You're not
like
supposed
that.
to have it all together.
No, no. I mean, I think that's what people think. And people always say, oh, you're always so up. You're so upbeat, so happy. Okay. Yeah. You know what? Most of the time, but I have my down moments. Everybody
Yeah.
does. And don't put that on me. Don't put that
Right.
on me.
Well, and you have to work at it. Like it
Exactly.
doesn't come naturally. You can't always be super sunny. You can
No,
work to feel good every day, but it's definitely not something that you just are because you're a coach or a therapist, right?
exactly. And I find out too in life. I'm preparing, putting us ahead. I probably shouldn't, but
That's okay.
I'll just say this, and then I'll leave it alone. I'll pick it back up. But even when I speak, right, because I'm in love with the microphone, right.
Yes.
When I speak, I get such a high. I'm so high,
Excited.
and
Yeah.
it takes so much, and I love it. I love talking to the people and them having light bulb moments. Like, oh my gosh, they connected with something I said, and they can
Right.
leave. I can be a bridge to get them to
Sure.
the next place. I love it. But then when I'm done and I'm like, wherever I going, like if I'm going back to a hotel, if I'm going back home, I feel kind of low. Like, whew, yeah, and that does
Yeah,
happen.
because you gave all your energy and then you're
Exactly.
just like, phew. And
Yeah,
there is kind of a I don't want to call it depression, but there is kind of a down after you've expended a lot of energy and by
exactly.
design. Like you
Exactly.
have to go home and rest now and
Yeah,
rekindle that
generate.
energy to go and do it again, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So where was I at? Okay. So by this time, this is 2018 when I left. And so by I want to say I didn't do coaching for at least a year and a half or something because I didn't feel like I had anything to give. But then one day I was like, oh my gosh, all this stuff I did to heal is for someone else.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I had that revelation, there was nothing stopping me then because then my confidence came back. Like, oh, yeah, because you always give out what's in you, right?
Sure.
And what your life is creating, you learn how to work with that stuff and
Mm-hmm.
and to recover and to help somebody else recover. And that's just truly what I did. My greatest passion is from my pain. And I've heard many people say that. And I truly understand it now because I'm living in it, I'm walking in it. And as I go in life, everything's adjusting too, everything's changing, because I did have a moment where I was lost in life. So now I'm helping people lost in life too, So all those things that come at me, I learn things, get tools like we talked about, help people, through me overcoming those things,
Right.
So that's what I am. And so I didn't even get certified until I would start doing divorce coaching because I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But it was just like truly my life lessons that I learned and I learned to overcome. And I was making all these tools up on my own, it
Mm-hmm.
was so organic and so beautiful and it was God given. So yeah, so that's what happened. And I regenerated and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have the niche of helping people recover from divorce. And, I was helping everybody, but it's usually just women, but I have helped men, which is such a different experience.
Yes.
I shy away from anything that is not as easy, any challenges. So
Right.
if they come
Right.
to me, I'll help them. But my niche is 30-year-old women to 55-year-old women and recovering from divorce. But lately I've been getting women that not always married, had these long-term relationships and thought the man was going to marry them, then
Mm-hmm.
didn't. So
And it's a very similar experience, right? Like
it
it doesn't
is.
have to be a legal divorce. It can
Right.
just be the dissolution of a long-term relationship. It's the same kind of emotions
Yes.
that they're dealing with and the same sort of life changes, like you getting into a new home and kind of restarting everything.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's very similar.
Yeah.
So
So
what
that's
did you learn? Like what was the big lesson or two that you learned from going through this divorce? And, that not only did it change the way you coach, but also were there other things that you learned about yourself or about help others? What kind of
It
things?
it did. Okay, so my biggest discovery was me.
Mm,
A lot of women in particular, I love us, but we come out not even knowing what kind of cereal we like. Okay. Because it's all about the husband. And if you have the kids, it's all about the kids. And everything was wrapped up in that title wife. I tell people everything was wrapped up. To be a good Christian, had to be a good wife. To be a good person, had to be a good wife. Be a good mother, had to be
right.
a good wife to keep their family
It was your
together.
identity.
My identity. So I wrote a book called Identity Crisis, Knowing Who You Are, Knowing Who
Right.
You Are. And so that really, when I wrote that book, I feel like I was lost to some degree. But basically, I came out because I had to assess the whole situation, right? I am a person that likes to get to the core of things. Like, why did I allow things to happen? And I do this a lot with my clients because it's only going to be so much time where we're going to spend on what the other person did. Now it's okay
Right.
to have a venting session. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to get out. And I do allow it. I allow time for that. And that's fine.
Right.
But we have to know why we allowed this. They did what they did, but why did we allow it?
Right. Or put up with it for so long, or excuse it in some way, or not advocating for yourself. Like there's a reason that we do those things.
It is. It
Yeah.
truly is. And so what I figured out about myself is because of the low self-esteem. I pretty much, well, I guess I'll go back even further a little bit. Because of my childhood, my mom was very, very lenient. Now this is very weird. Okay, I know people think this weird. She was very lenient, and I wanted her to be more structured. I want her to punish me. I want her to, give me boundaries. So I didn't have any of that. And I seen it around me. All my other friends, they were like, oh, they got punishments, they got spankings, they got all these consequences. So I was like, that's their parents loving them. I don't have love because I don't get punished. I don't have boundaries. She doesn't care about me. And
Wow.
so that's how I
Interesting.
felt.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Yeah.
so at 15, I got baptized, got into church, and there was a lot of boundaries there, a lot
Yes.
of
A lot of
rules,
discipline, right?
a lot of this. I was like, oh, these people love me. Yay. I'm like, they're telling me what to do. I'm like, this is my first time having
They
this
have
structure.
rules, very specific rules, right?
Yes. Yes. The way I
Yeah.
dress, the way, I did my everything. And so I was like, wow. So then I started looking for a guy, right? And he's going to run my life, right? Because number one, I wasn't smart enough. Remember, I'm having the self esteem issue,
Yeah, you didn't think you were smart enough to do anything, right? Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So then he was very intelligent. So he started telling me what to do. He gave me all these rules. And how many people out there know that means he was controlling?
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you thought it was love. Interesting. See, and I think that that's a really good point for people that are listening to think about is much of the work that we do in life coaching is about learning about yourself and how
Exactly.
you were
Learn about
influenced as a
yourself.
child, how you were designed, what are the
Yes.
stories that you tell yourself every day.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a real important piece of it when we life coach is figuring yourself out so then you can decide what you want to change.
Look, light bulb moment for everybody that's listening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
it's
heard that.
important.
I hope they heard that. That's a light bulb moment. And that's what coaching is all about. So because I figured out that's what I do with my clients. I help them figure out that kind of stuff. And so that's the number one thing I found out that I'm a beautiful, intelligent, capable woman. Look how I got out of that situation. And
Sure.
talk to my kids, basically they're unscathed by it. And
Yeah,
that's what I bring to the table.
because you allowed them to be whole through the whole process. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I coach. And that's what I coach. So self-discovery was one thing and that was like one of the major things. And another thing is kind of like understanding that you have to change your mindset. Mindset is such a big thing in life. And
Mhm.
so I do a lot of mindset stuff with my clients because it's all about your perception, how you see yourself. And so what I started understanding about myself was, oh, I'm not good at this and this and this, but what am I good at? We always start with the negative, right? So someone
Right.
was telling me the other day about their business and all the negative. I said, wait. You tell me about what you don't know, but tell me about what you do know. And then we're gonna go off of that. And
Right.
so that's the one of the major things I learned about myself. I am a very good communicator. I love people. You know, I just started discovering that and just kind of fixing how I felt about myself, my mindset. So the mindset change is a big change. And with my clients, the number 3 thing with them is how do you grieve someone that's still on this earth?
Yeah, because you're grieving the person and the relationship, right? There's multiple levels of grief in that
Mhm.
divorce or, even loss, but divorce for sure, that they're still there and you still have to deal with them, especially when you have kids, right? Because you have to deal with them.
Yeah, and sometimes I have these clients and it's really difficult for them because and they don't want to admit it, Julie, but they still have these feelings for these people that
Sure.
done them
Yeah, of
so
course you
wrong.
have to, right?
Done them so wrong. So they feel like they
Mhm.
should hate them,
Right.
dislike them. But I was like, just say it out loud that you still love that person. It's okay.
Hmm.
It took time to fall in love. It takes time to fall out of love sometimes.
Right. Yeah. And why can't you love somebody and not be married to them anymore? Like
You
there's no,
definitely can.
yeah, there's no reason that you have to turn it into hate because then
No
it's just
reason.
hurting you, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And
Mhm.
and I have to convince them to forgive. Forgiveness is really for you, not for the other person. Closure you find that within yourself, not in the other person. Just little
Mhm.
pivots. I'm saying it takes a lot of things to explain these kind of things. I'm just blurting them out, but
Right, right. Well, I think it's good to say all of these things because I think people don't always understand what the mindset work is.
yeah.
Because they think it's like, oh, happy, happy, joy, joy. Let's just think all the happy thoughts. And it's like, no, the reason that we do mindset work is so that we can relieve ourselves from the negativity eating us up.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
And and you'll still have those negative thoughts, but then
Yes.
you notice them and you're like, okay, well, is that thought serving me? It isn't. So let's let that go and let's adjust it. It doesn't have to
Just
be a total like, oh, this person's so wonderful. It's like, no, they did all these bad things and I'm going to set up boundaries around that. But I don't have to let it define me or
yeah.
ruin my life. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think it's misconceptions within different things. Like if I forgive somebody, it means I'm saying it was okay what they did. No,
Mm.
that's not what
No.
it's saying at all.
No, it just releases you from all the negativity that you get bogged down by.
It does. And does. And do you want to be a prisoner to that kind of stuff?
Right.
No, you don't. You want to be released. And people say they want to be, but you have to do the work to be. And you really got to be like, okay, all right. I forgive them. Doesn't mean I'm co-signing what they did or like what they did. It happened. You know,
Yeah.
it happened.
Yeah. And the mindset shift takes time.
It
It's
does.
not something that happens overnight. I mean, I've been coached now for probably close to 10 years, and there's still things that I work on that I have tried to change over the 10 years. Like it's gotten better. I'm better at it, but I still have, you still sometimes get that, oh, you're not smart enough or you're not whatever voice. And
Yeah.
you'll probably always have that voice. But now that you notice it and you can let it go, then you can replace it with the you're enough voice.
Yes. And you know what I learned to do, and I teach others to do this? It's okay to say, I don't know that, or I don't understand that. Be honest and truthful. And truth brings such beauty because you have to say, I don't have to know all that. You don't have to feel dumb in the situation. Like I said to someone the other day, they were talking about some place, and I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not good at geography. I don't know where that's at.
Right. Please tell me where on the
Please
earth
tell
that
me.
is.
And that's how you learn. So, what I
Right.
learned to do is surrender. Surrender. Like, oh, listen, this is who I am, but but that makes me more confident in what I do know. And then I learn and then I become maybe confident in that, or it is what it is, but you just got to get there. Like you said, you have to get there.
Right, right. Okay, so I want to talk about your speaking because I
Okay.
know that's really exciting and important to you. So let's talk
Yeah.
about that before we get too much further into the podcast. I want to hear about how that started and what you're doing and why it's so exciting to you.
Okay, so this speaking is this tracks back way longer than the life coaching, because I was a young woman. I had just gotten married, and I met this lady within preparation for my wedding, and she did everything. The dress, the cake, the decoration. She's just a phenomenal person, and she became my mentor, my spiritual mentor, because she was a mother in the church. Like I don't know if I'm gonna call her mother. She probably don't like that, but she's in the church. She's an evangelist or whatever, and so she became my mentor. And so she said to me one day, and this is way different than what I do now. This was spiritual speaking. She was having an event and she was like, "Oh, I want you to come speak." I'm like, "I don't do that." Mm-mm. And that low self-esteem was kicking
Right.
in, like,
Yeah.
find somebody better, find
Right.
somebody that knows more.
Smarter. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Only smart people can do that.
right, Julie, only
Right.
smart people. And that ain't me, right? That ain't
Right.
me.
Yeah.
So she talked me into it kind of. And I went and I spoke at her event. It was at a banquet hall. And there was a lot of women there. And I enjoyed it.
Were
Oh,
you real nervous the first time or did you kind of settle right in? Oh, it was like
listen.
meant to be.
It was meant to be. And I figured out later why. One of the reasons is, and I couldn't verbalize things, I just knew them. But one
Sure.
of the reasons is, and I believe this is like one of my mantras, that if God gave you the talent, right? It's not even on you, it's on him. It's like he gave me the confidence. I have confidence in what he put in me. And
Right.
that's what I lean. So I don't have any reason to, maybe get tiny bit of jitters, but not like that because I'm like, I have number one, prepared myself for what I'm going to say. I number two, feel very passionate about what I'm going to say. I number
Right.
three, want to help people with what I want to say. I want to service
Right.
them and I want to give them what they need so they can become better people. And so with all that, I come forth and I do what I'm gonna do. And it just works out. And so that my very first speaking, it was like what I was meant to do. And so I did that for a while within the church situation. I spoke at
Mhm.
my church, I was a guest speaker at different churches. And so that's what I did. But I don't do that anymore. But I speak on personal growth. I speak on divorce, the imposter syndrome, things like that will help grow people in life, get them to the next place they need to go. So I love to run workshops because although I didn't like kids, I like teaching. See how you
That's
figure those things
interesting.
out
So
about
yeah, so
yourself?
your teaching kind of eventually came back.
That's right, because I am a
Yeah.
teacher at heart,
Well, not 5-year-olds.
Exactly.
I love
If
that.
I had a coach back then, maybe they would run me in and ask me some questions so I could figure that out.
Right, right. Yeah, one more reason to have a coach, right? To get you on the right track. I
So
love that.
important. Yeah. So I just love speaking. Like I said, I'm like a bridge that gets them to the next place. And that's what I like to do. So it's just like, I don't get like the jitters or anything, but that's what I tell people, just to practice and know what you're saying and be passionate about what you're saying and know these people are here because they want to hear something from you.
Sure.
That's what they're here. They're desperately wanting to hear something. So you are the center. You gotta like to be the center of attention, I guess. I don't mind it at all. I don't shrink
Right.
in the back. No,
That's
I'm like, I'm
awesome.
here.
But see, that's fascinating because you had such low self-esteem. And the fact that you're so into being in front of everybody is really fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
I feel like even in that relationship, I feel like I had to shrink because he didn't like it when I was all,
Okay.
loud and big and,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's who I am. And I had to learn that that's okay.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, because it's you. And that's how God made you.
Exactly. But that scripture, women be quiet, women this and that, So I was like, oh, maybe I'm just wrong, So
Right. Yeah. And then you learn differently.
yeah.
So quickly, because we're going to run out of time pretty soon, but
Oh
you
no.
said imposter syndrome.
Hmm.
And that's a big thing with my
Right.
veterinary people that I coach. They're
Oh, really?
very, um, it just seems to be a thing, like imposter syndrome, perfectionism, like that's what some of our struggles are. So can you
Oh.
just speak a little bit on imposter syndrome? Short couple of pieces
Yeah.
of advice or ideas that you would speak on?
I think that does boil down to the negative chatter in your ear and feeling like that you are putting forth in front of people who you really are not. You are not. You're lying to everybody, but in the back, you really know who you are. So those two people are fighting against each other, and you're afraid somebody's going to find you out, and that's just truly what happens to a lot of us. And I think it just boils down to not understanding who you are, not having the confidence, not loving you. And and I hate to say it though, but the biggest thing to do is to find out your true self, and line yourself up with that because some people they are putting on the show. So that's the first thing. Are you putting on the show or is it just something negative that's trying to work against what you're doing? You have to be your authentic self. And sometimes we're not. So I do work within that vein of figuring out, okay, is this who you are? Is this your authentic self? Are you
Yeah,
presenting
I
yourself
think
to the world?
that's a really good point because I think sometimes us trying to be inauthentic is part of the reason that we feel that imposter syndrome. I mean, I'm not saying that you wouldn't go into an exam room when we were having a bad day and try to be happy. Like that to me was kind of like acting. There were some times when you just
Right.
had to act happy to see these people, even if you weren't, because that's
Right.
part of the deal, right? But
Right.
just in that space of, maybe I might have to say, I don't know and these people will think I'm dumb. I think that's sometimes where imposter syndrome comes from. And
Yeah.
it's really unnecessary because you can just say, hey, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with your dog, but we're going to figure this out and
That's
just
right.
move forward, right?
That's right. The biggest thing is when you have confidence, people have confidence in you.
Sure.
And I've
Right.
seen speakers so many times up and they have no confidence and they're making me feel because it's what you
Uncomfortable.
give off. It's what you give
Right.
off.
Right.
So you have the training, you went to school for it, and it's all about, ticking off things that's not wrong so you can figure out what's wrong and just
Sure.
explain it and and it's okay. They're better in your hands because you do have the training. Let
And
you
you care.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you care. So
Right.
it'll be all right. And so once you have that kind of mindset, it's kind of a mindset shift, to work against imposter syndrome. It really is.
Absolutely is. Yeah. And it takes practice.
It does. It does.
Hearing that little voice of uncertainty and then shutting it down. Like, I
Yeah,
know what I'm doing.
yeah. And then you can treat that little voice. And so on how you treat things, because I always teach people to find the light in darkness, right?
Mm,
Always find some light. So the light in that is you won't be big in your head. You won't be arrogant. You won't think you're all that because you have something to check you.
right.
So treat that as something that's going to check you. Don't treat it where it's going to take you over. Just use that to check yourself. That's it.
Yeah, it's just a check-in. I love that. That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Perception, changing your mindset, using
right.
things that's negative for your betterment. You can do
Yes.
it.
I
Yeah.
like that. So what have I not asked you that I should? Is there anything
Ah,
that we haven't talked about that we should?
oh, goodness. I don't know.
I know it's a hard question. I
I'm
mean,
like, no help. Later on, I'll be like, oh, wait a minute.
well, and I always tell people when they're on the podcast with me that if they want to come back and talk about something else, I'm always happy to do that.
Oh,
So if you're like later, you go, oh, we should talk a whole hour on this subject. I
so
would love
much
to have
stuff.
you back.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you can't think of anything that I haven't asked, how about telling people where they can find you, if they want you to speak? because I'm sure you're open for speaking
Oh,
engagement.
I'm so open. Like I'm
Yeah.
there with the mic as soon as you call. No.
I love that. No, because that's what we need. I mean, in veterinary medicine, we have so many opportunities for continuing education. And a lot of the things that we're kind of trying to shift towards now are mindset, mental health. So we
Oh,
need people
great.
like you to speak to us. Yeah.
That's good. So
Yeah.
everything's wrapped up in NicoleBright.com.
Nicole
So
Bright.
they can
That
go
is a
to
great name.
NicoleBright.com,
Is that your actual name, Bright?
Nicole is my middle name,
Oh, okay.
and Bright is what I want to bring to the world.
I
My
love that. I
my
mean, I
life.
just love that name. I was like, if that's her real name, that's going to be really ironic.
No. So what happened was, as quick note, because of the divorce and I was writing books, they were like, are you gonna put that name, his name still on there?
Oh, yeah. And you
How are
didn't
you
want
gonna
that.
handle all that? Because you're gonna get
Right.
married probably because people know me, when
Sure.
you're gonna get married.
Right.
And so I said, well, I'll figure out a pen name. And so then when it was my pen name, I was
Beautiful.
like, I created a company. So it's Nicole Bright LLC.
I love it. I love
So
it.
yeah. So you go to
Okay. So tell us
NicoleBright.com.
again, since I got you sidetracked, tell
It's
us again
okay.
where to find you. Nicole Bright.
Yeah, so Nicole is spelled without the H. Some people spell it with the H. And Bright is Bright, that kind of
Love it.
Bright.com. Or you can just email me directly. I'm old school. So you can go to Coach Nicole Bright at gmail.com. So
Okay.
two simple ways to contact me. So
All right. I love that what you said. I tried to write it down. So this is your quote for the podcast.
okay.
Find the light in darkness.
Yep.
I love that.
Exactly.
That's a really good quote. Put that in your next book or on your next slide.
Yes, yes, that is just one of my tools. I have a lot of tools, and that's one of my tools. I help people because I can find a light in most disastrous thing. You'll be surprised. People just got to receive it.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. All
It was so
right. Well,
nice
this
talking to
this
you.
has been super fun. It's been great meeting you. I'm sure we'll get together again at some point. Maybe we'll do another podcast together if you're willing.
I would love
If
to,
you
of course.
if you come up with a speaking topic and you want to practice, we can do a podcast before you go to your speaking engagement and you can try it out on us.
Love it. Love it.
So everybody, thanks so much for listening. This is Nicole Bright, and she is an awesome person. And if you are going through a divorce, definitely reach out to her, and she's going to say,
I am Nicole Bright, and I'm loving you even when you're in pieces. That is my
"Oh,
tag. I just want to
I
jump right
like
in there.
that. I'm
Yes.
loving you even when you're in pieces." Beautiful. That's great. That's perfect. Well, that's a great way to end.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Nicole. Have a beautiful week, everyone. Bye. Bye, Nicole.